Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make informed decisions. In this video, I'm going to tell you a lot of things you need to hear. Now, if you take your investing serious, like I do, you at least spend 10 to 15 minutes listening to this video from start to finish, because it's going to educate you about a lot of things, and if nothing else, it'll make you think about some things that you might not have considered. And if you don't get this right, it's definitely going to make a big difference in your future, whether it's good or bad. So in this video, we're going to dive into FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and we're going to talk about how to get rid of it and the ramifications if you don't. And we're going to dive through basically 3 strategies or 3 plans that are mindsets that you pretty much have as an option when you're creating your roadmap or your portfolio to capitalize on the next bull run or beyond. Now, there's countless ways you can set up a portfolio, but the overall basics, there's really just 3. So we're going to dive into that, and then I'm going to ask you 2 questions along the way, and hopefully you can answer these questions. And if you can't, please spend some time considering and thinking about what your answer should be and what you want it to be. Now, that'll make sense here in a minute. Now, if you bear with me, at the end of this video, we're going to talk about how you can work with me one-on-one, and I'm going to tell you a story that I have learned and a lesson that one of my customers or my clients that I'm coaching, I'm going to tell you their life lesson, their investment lesson. And guys, it's going to blow you away, and I don't want it to happen to you guys. Now, that's why I've created this video. Working one-on-one, guys, you get to see a lot of people's different mistakes. So I want to pass those on with you guys, because there's 2 ways to learn. You can learn the hard way, whether that's investing or in life, or you can learn through others. I want to encourage you guys to learn through others. Now, let's get into it. Now, I'm going to tell you basically my overall thought process of how I plan to capitalize on the next bull run. Now, my strategy, if I got into detail, gets pretty complex and it's massive. But the gist of it is to dollar cost average in, stack the right bags, and unstack those dollar cost average out by the end of the next bull run. So for me, at the end of the next bull run, I'm out of everything that I currently own or will own during the process, except my Bitcoin. Now, we can dive into that strategy later, but that's a different video of how I'll know when to get out, etc. Now, the other strategy, which I recommend to the average person to at least consider, and that's kind of like Michael Saylor's strategy, the Bitcoin GOAT, if you ask me. There's never been a billionaire and a high IQ person like Michael Saylor have more conviction about any investment in history. I truly believe that. He puts his money where his mouth is, and it is a massive, massive amount of money. Well, his concept is dollar cost average into Bitcoin and never stop and never sell. And in the future, you can use Bitcoin as your own personal bank. You can borrow against that money, and you get tax benefits, and then you can stake it, and you can pass it down generation after generation. Now, that strategy, in my opinion and Michael's, is it's only for Bitcoin, because it's the only one that is decentralized and is probably going to be able to stand up to all the regulation attacks throughout the next couple of years, if not the next 20 years. Now, The third strategy is to hodl. Have a long-term approach, stack good projects, and just hold on to them for 5 years, 10 years, or longer, depending on your age and your thought process. Now, guys, any of those might work. Well, I personally believe my strategy will work. That's why I implemented it. I have no doubt Michael Saylor's strategy will work, but it has a different upside, but it's a lot less risky. Now, everything is risky in crypto, but Bitcoin is obviously the least amount of risk, but there's a lot of bigger upside projects out there, as we know. Now, here's what I really want to talk to you guys about, because I hear this a lot from people that are wanting to work with me, is they plan to hodl, kind of like a stock portfolio. Now, all I want to do is definitely go through the risk, because one thing I see in crypto and in life, especially like in news and world events, is people tend to not get both sides of the stories. Like, it happens to me every single day. I will make a comment, or someone will make a comment in my comment section, and they tell me I need to do more research. And that's hilarious, because the difference between me making a comment when I make one is I've done my research, or I don't make a comment. But I've done research on both sides, right? If I make a comment that one project's better than the other, or about the tokenomics, well, that's because I've studied all of it. Most people that tell me to do I need to do more research, they've only researched their project, right? They only have one side of the equation. That's why we're so far apart, but yet we both have conviction. Well, in my opinion, the only way you're going to have conviction in what you do, and that's where it talks about how to get rid of the FUD. If you've done the homework on the entire picture of the reality of what you're dealing with, then you can have conviction and have a better probability of capitalizing on profits for your portfolio. Now, here's one thing I want you guys to think about, or I'm going to list out the things that everyone needs to think about if they're going to hodl past the next bull run. Now, stay with me, guys, because this is a life lesson in investing. It's not financial advice, but this is reality of what the risks are. And then I'm going to tell you a story of how the outcome might look, and I do not want it to happen to anybody. All right, the first risk of holding your money out, say 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, is opportunity cost throughout that time, right? If you have even $25,000 stacked and you hold it for 20 years or 10 years or whatever, that money needs to be going to work for you every single day. And if you're stacking, waiting on a project to move up, for years and years and years, and then eventually, say you get a 10x after 5 years, guys, that was nothing. You could have got a 10x the first start of the bull run, right? So you got to think about the time cost. Now, the other part of the opportunity cost is, you've stacked your money into a project that is, say, pretty good, but there's better projects now, right? I'm going to give you an example. I pretty much own all of the banking tokens. HBAR, XLM, XRP, pretty much all of them. However, the AI tokens weren't really around when I was stacking those bags hard. Well, now I got a new favorite, and it's not banking tokens. As much as I love like HBAR, it is not in my top 5 anymore of my favorite projects. And I absolutely love it. And just a few months ago, it was one of my favorites. Now, it's still in the top 10, don't get me wrong, but my point is, because I've stacked that bag, that money's deployed. I can't roll it into an AI project. Well, at least that's not my strategy. Once I put on a project, I write out my strategy, period. Now, so you basically have lost an opportunity for a better opportunity. Now, what are the other risks? Regulation. Think about it, guys. Look what we've already been through. Imagine if the SEC attacks any of the projects you own like they did XRP and your project gets delisted. Wow. So why would I want to extend that risk for 5 years, 10 years when, let's just say, the next bull run's going to start in the next couple of months, and let's just say 18 months is over, right? Well, my risk is gone. I've already took those profits. Now, the other risk is, what if you get dumped on? Because I know a lot of people have projects with bad tokenomics, right? And if you're not familiar with how to look at tokenomics, I'll leave a link down below of the video I just created that will help you understand tokenomics. Please watch that. Now, you might just flat out have a project, and it's probably going to happen to all of us, that gets rug pulled. It happens all the time. Even some of the best projects are gone. If you go study history of some of the best projects on the planet 10 years ago, 5 years ago, they just disappeared for whatever reason. Somebody pulled the rug out from under them. Now, another risk that we all have is the project gets attacked. No matter how solid a project is, right? If it gets attacked, it changes everything. It changes the confidence. It changes everything. So a project that we might today think is the best of the best, no matter what category or what sector, if it gets attacked and there's a big amount of money lost and people lose confidence, that project's dead in the water, right? So why, again, would we want to extend that? Now, again, this is not financial advice. This is your money. Do with it as you will. But I want you to consider everything. Now, apparently right now, it's a concern of a lot of people, not me, and I'm going to do a video about the dollar crashing. But it could happen, and there could be ramifications. So I personally would much rather have made a lot of money in the next bull run if the dollar does collapse in the next couple of years than having all my money tied up that, once it happens, guys, there's no getting out, right? Or you get out with pocket change. Now, we all have the risk of like war somewhere around the globe, even one that America could be involved in. That would be a game changer. Again, I'd rather have my profits already stacked away somewhere else. Now, the last one I really want everyone to consider is another global pandemic. A lot of people think there's going to be an outage, a global outage. I don't know, but we have to plan for all that. So that's why when you add all that risk up, it really doesn't make sense when I personally weigh out the risk reward to holding something 5 years from now. And there's one thing else I left off. With ChatGPT, the way technology is exploding, guys, these projects could be obsolete literally in a matter of months. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'll give you an example. Two of my favorite tokens that if I did want to hold long term would be Quant and Link, because that interoperability that they both have, they are by far the front runners. If I had to hold something 5-10 years and bet that it's going to be around, it would be those two. But guys, there could be a new project, a new protocol that comes out literally tomorrow that just dominates interoperability and makes everything easier. You don't have to worry about the hack at the bridge or whatever, and boom, those projects are gone. Now, I know this sounds like fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and it is. but it's reality. But see, guys, I personally have no doubt that that technology is not being created right this minute. And even if it launched tomorrow, Quant and Link are going to pump throughout the next bull run, and nothing's going to come through and dominate basically overnight. It's going to be a little while, even though it could dominate in a matter of, say, months. But that would give me time to get out. But if people are not paying attention and they're just going to hodl for 5 or 10 years, the odds are, guys, if you go through the top 50 tokens right now, in 5 to 10 years, there probably won't be but maybe 5 out of that 50 still in the top 50. The world's going to change. You know, that's one thing about getting older. I've been around a long time. You know, I watched what happened in the stocks in 2000, right? You had any stock that had .com in it was a powerhouse and exploded. And then it all came crashing down, which will happen in crypto. But look what came out of it. The Amazons, Google, Microsoft, all these world beater powerhouse corporations. That's going to happen in crypto. But we don't know who those are, right? Or at least I don't. So if I can capitalize and take my profits and live to fight another day and start over, that's my game plan. Because think about one other thing, guys. When you get into a bull run, you can make some massive, massive gains, right? You take those profits, they're your profits. You have them. Now you get to watch everything pull back. If you know how to short, maybe you make even more money on the way down. But you got that money. Maybe have it in a stable coin or wherever you decide to put it, right? And then you get to make a new strategy for the next bull run. Because, guys, I promise you, the tokens that are going to lead this bull run, now I'm not talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum to kickstart it, but the ones that are pumping and pumping and pumping that we all want to be in, they're not the ones from last year. You can almost guarantee that, because they've already done their pumping on that kind of scale. The ones that are going to pump are the newer ones, the ones on down the list, right? The top, 1,000. Maybe it's sitting at number 500 right now, or 125. But the ones in the top 10 are not going to be the ones that dominate and do the 10, 500 X's. They're going to come from out of the pack. And then the bull run after that, guys, it's going to be a whole nother breed, so to speak, of projects. Like, you want to start looking, and I'm getting off topic, but bear with me. You want to start looking at the new projects that sit on top of the projects that did rock and roll, right? Like, you want to look at the projects being built on HBAR, get the next HBAR, right? You want to look at the projects that sit on top of Ethereum or even Matic, get the next Ethereum, the next Matic. So that's why I like invest bull run to bull run. But no matter what you choose, guys, get a game plan, get a roadmap, and stick to it. Now, I'm going to tell you a story of one of my customers. And what I've done is I've rolled about 5 stories together into one, because I don't want to basically talk about one person's event. However, this is kind of down the middle. When I add up the average of 5 stories I could share with you guys, it looks something like this. This is real reality of what is happening and what has happened to some of the people I'm working with. Imagine taking, say, $20,000 of your hard-earned money in 2017, and it runs up to $250,000. That's a 10x. You don't take it. You ride it all the way back down to like 32,000. And then in the next bull run, 5 years later, basically, you turn that $20,000, I think that's what I said, $20,000 into $600,000. And then when it's all said and done, because when the FOMO kicked in and everyone was talking about Bitcoin going to 100,000, a quarter of a million, or whatever, imagine you not selling out. And now you're sitting back and you got like $32,000. That's it. Well, that is the HODL long-term approach. Getting caught up, wrapped up in the FOMO, and making the wrong decision. So now you're in your third bull run and you realistically don't have anything to show for it. And you could have easily, almost, depending on your lifestyle, been in retirement. But either way, you could be sitting on, say, 10 Bitcoins or more that you don't ever want to sell, and that you could be borrowing against it, or you could be staking it right now. It could go a lot of different ways. But the point I'm making, guys, is every day we hold crypto, think of it as dog years. It's an eternity. 5 years from now, I promise you. Now, this is not a financial information or financial, you know what I'm trying to say, advice. It's not financial advice, but this is reality. I truly believe that 5-10 years from now, most of the projects that we know and love and own right now, people aren't even going to have heard of them. Everything's going to change except a handful of projects. That's almost a certainty. So anyway, guys, if you want to work one-on-one with me, what I want to do is have 3 to 5 calls with you, whether it's over the phone or through Zoom, and we're going to build out your game plan, your roadmap that fits your risk tolerance and your goals. And if you want to go for the long term, that's up to you. I personally go bull run to bull run, but I just want to walk you through the process. And if that is your goal, then I want to have rules and a roadmap in place so that you can make the best out of your decisions. That's what I offer. It's $250. You'll work with me 3 to 5 sessions. That's definitely going to change in the future, because I'm learning as I go and trying to put all this into a package for everyone in the future. So right now I spend a lot more time one-on-one with people that, quite frankly, I don't really need to do, and it's not cost effective for me at all, but it's a win-win in my opinion right now, because you get access to me and then I get to kind of plan this program out as we go. If you want to get involved with that, I'll leave a link in the description and I'll pin it as well. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know in the comment section if you think this helped you. Hopefully you'll subscribe. Either way, hit that like button and come back and be part of this community. Remember, not financial advice. Take care, guys.